Park today, right inside that breeding pond over there. He's 13 feet long, weighs close to 1,000 pounds, and he's somewhere between about 50 to 60 years old. One big question we always get was the difference between the alligators and the crocodiles. I'll get this little guy right here, and as they grow and start to get older, they lose the yellow stripes and they turn completely black. The crocodile is the exact opposite of an alligator, so they're a lot lighter in color. But get a good look at the head of the alligator. He has a nice round snout. Crocodile's got a pointy snout. Now, alligators have 80 teeth as opposed to your crocodile, who's only got 60. Alligators and crocodiles living together right here in the Florida Everglades. So we're going to put this little guy away.
Une queue.
Juste la queue. En fait, il n'y a rien au bout.
Regarde, il y a une queue et une perche.
Ouais, je sais pas laquelle c'est la mienne.
Oh là là,
il est fou ce moteur. Il sent pas ça,
le fou.
Non, on va pas aller à l'école.
And our alligator here, guys, 7 feet long, 150 pounds, 88% muscle, very little fat on an alligator. And one of the first things we like to talk about here, what do you do if the alligator decides to chase you? Side. Can't see in front of them, can't see behind them. So to catch him up. Quickly jumping on the back of the alligator, guys, kind of like so. Once on the alligator, we're going to show you all the teeth on top, already on the bottom. Alligators eat that head molars, so don't chew their food. What's known as bulldogging. Talking a little bit about the alligator, guys. The nostrils are up on top of the head. Skull of the alligator, skin covered bone. Hit the mouth of the alligator's taped shut and he decides to hit you with the side of the head. They can still do quite a bit of damage. The eyes of the alligator, once said to believe when an alligator attacks you, take your finger, poke him in the eye, he'll let you go. It doesn't work, guys. Their eyes will roll back into the socket. They have that bony plate that does protect it. The ear of the alligator, found just behind the eye, has a waterproofing flap that does protect the ear to prevent water from going into the ear canal. The brain of the alligator, found right about there, same size as your fingernail, so they're instinctual creatures. You cannot train an alligator. Being a reptile, a cold-blooded animal, they need the sun and heat to digest their food. The hotter it is outside, the faster an alligator can move. I can see you guys are ready for one more stunt, right?
Yes.
Have those cameras out and ready, because our next and final stunt serves no purpose in catching an alligator. Holding the jaws open with only my chin. Okay, guys, we got on the alligator safely. Here comes the fun part. We gotta get off safely. And those are the stunts and techniques done with the alligator for the show, guys. We want to remind you these animals are not your friends, not your buddies, and they can make horrible pets. If you come across an alligator in the wild, guys, do stay away from them. They're fast enough to catch dogs, cats, even flying birds. So catching any of us, not a problem. We are going to give you guys a chance now to handle the small alligators. We're going to tape up the jaws, let you hold them, take pictures with them, see what the alligators feel like. If you all enjoyed that show, feel free to show your appreciation and enjoy the rest of your time here with us at the Everglades.
Welcome you here to the Everglades Alligator Farm and the 1 o'clock snake show. Basically what I'm going to do is take out a snake, tell you a little bit about them, and eventually towards the end of the show you folks will get a chance to hold the snake on your own. Now, to tell you a little bit about snakes in general. On an evolutionary scale, the snakes were the last reptiles to evolve on the face of the earth. The primary ancestor to any snake is a lizard. 140 million years ago, lizards began to bury themselves underneath the ground. When they returned to the surface, they evolved into snakes. Snakes are primarily divided up into 6 major family groups. There are 2,600 snakes known in the world today. Out of the majority of the world's population, 1/3 is venomous, the other 2/3 is not. So that makes most snakes found within the world non-venomous. So most of your encounters are going to be with non-venomous snakes. But let me give you a little bit of advice. If you don't know a lot about snakes, identification, or a lot of things about details with these animals, do to yourself a favor. Just leave them alone, okay? Now this snake right here belongs to the colubrid family. That's the largest group of snakes in the snake family, okay? Consisting of mostly non-venomous snakes, even though there are a few venomous snakes belonging to that particular family. Now the first thing we notice when we look at a snake is a long body with no legs. Most of you might say to yourself, well, if they don't have legs, how do they move around? What snakes use in order to move themselves forward are scales. Underneath the belly of the snake, they have a modified scale known as a ventral scale. It is a scale that goes horizontal across its belly. Snakes will utilize those scales in place of legs. They do not have to move in a serpentine motion. That is the S motion you will see most snakes running through the grass. Any snake in the world can keep his body in a straight line, move forward by utilizing those scales. Another thing about a snake, it's forked tongue that comes in and out of the mouth. What it does with that tongue, it picks up particles in the air and on the ground. He brings the tongue back into the mouth to analyze the particles. A separate organ in the roof of the snake's mouth works in conjunction with the tongue. It is known as the Jacobson organ. The tongue is placed into that organ for analyzing, working as a keen sense of taste and a very keen sense of smell. Another thing about the snake, when you look at the head of the snake, notice that the snake doesn't have any ears. No snake can hear. All snakes are deaf. So basically what that means is, no matter how loud you scream when you see a snake doesn't hear a word coming out of your mouth. Another thing about a snake, they have a clear skin covering which covers the eye. The snake has no natural moving eyelids. His eyes are always open. It is impossible to tell whether they are awake or whether they are asleep if they are coiled up. So the best thing to do with any snake in the world is just leave it alone. Okay? Now this snake here happens to be a milk snake. Milk snakes are found in the Americas alongside their cousins, the king snakes. King snakes and milk snakes will mimic venomous snakes. Any snake found in the America that retains banding is usually venomous, unless it's a non-venomous snake mimicking its dangerous cousin. This snake mimics the coral snake. The coral snakes that are found here in the Americas are the only relatives to cobras that are found in Asia and Africa. They belong to the family group of the Elapidae. Those snakes have something in common with each other. The first thing the venomous snake has in common, which is the coral snake, is a fixed fang. A fang always pointing in a downward position. Doesn't fold into the roof of the mouth, not like a viper or not like a rattlesnake. And it carries a neurotoxic venom. That's the only snake in the Americas with a neurotoxic venom. So basically when that snake bites, they'll latch onto the skin, rotate their fang over the surface of the skin, piercing it in several different areas. A lot of times they do have an ability to hit a vein. If a coral snake injects his venom intravenously, he will kill in less than 3 minutes. They are the most venomous snakes in North America, Central America, and South America. So those are very dangerous. We're going to put this snake away. We're going to take on another snake, which is a python. Now this snake I just showed you, I told you it was a milk snake. Milk snakes kill prey by suffocation or constriction. So basically we're going to take out a more famous constricting snake and tell you a little bit about that. Now the snake I'm going to take out right now is called the Burmese python. The Burmese python comes from northern India, China, and Burma. Now these are a little more famous for constricting. Okay, they are very powerful animals, folks, okay? Now when this snake gets hungry, what he's going to do is reach out with the mouth, grab a small animal, pull it into a coil, and begin to squeeze. Once that animal suffocates, the snake will then begin its feeding process. This animal is not capable of chewing or dismembering his prey. He must swallow his prey whole. He does have an ability to dislocate his jaw and expand the mouth 4 to 6 times larger than normal. He will actually open up his mouth around that big. Inside the snake's mouth, they do have teeth. All snakes have teeth because snakes are carnivores. The teeth inside of a snake's mouth are needle-point teeth that curve back towards his throat. So when the snake reaches out to grab his prey, once the animal gets hooked or snagged upon the single tooth of a snake, it cannot release itself. Kind of works like a fish hook. The snake has 4 rows of teeth on the top, 2 rows of teeth on the bottom. Altogether, there are almost 200 teeth inside of this snake's mouth. Each one of those teeth is covered in a membrane tissue along the side and upper and lower jaw. And that's the inside of the snake's mouth. Everybody get a good picture? Okay. Come on, he's choking me, okay? Alright, they don't get the name constricting snake for no reason. Now, this Burmese python, probably the reason, well, first I'll go over this with you, okay? First of all, it's yellow, okay? That's a recessive gene that becomes dominant in the animal during its birth, okay? That means that's why it's yellow. It's abstract to its normal coloration. This one happens to be an albino, okay? Normally, this snake is reddish-brown with mostly earth tones with the same markings you see on this one right here with the variations of yellow. Now, these snakes are now living in the Everglades. Do not be surprised if you go out into the Everglades and you see a very large snake eating a 10-foot alligator or a 10-foot alligator eating a very large snake. The Burmese python ranks number 4 in the world for the largest constrictors. This snake here will grow 24 feet and weigh over 350 pounds when he's full grown. They are one of the largest constricting snakes in the world. Okay, and we do have viable breeding populations of these snakes now living in the Everglades. Anything that's ever been sold in a pet store now lives in the Everglades, just to let you know. We're going to put this snake away. We're going to take out a couple of other snakes. Now the next snakes we're going to take out are snakes for you folks to home, okay? Now these snakes here are called African ball pythons. African ball pythons are also sold throughout the world. In Europe, these are known as royal pythons. Now normally snakes are instinctive. We're going to pass these around because instinctively they don't bite, okay? When they get frightened or scared, they roll up into a ball, tuck their head in the middle, and hide, okay? So relatively, these will hardly ever bite. Anybody here want to hold a snake? Sure? Come on down, folks. Come on down here. Here you go. Okay, y'all on. This is all for you guys. If you have any other questions about snakes, you can feel free to ask.